Ah, the feel of power. Stop the FOMO. Do you have a fear of missing out on getting the right TV mount for your amazing new TV? Well, today I'm going to help you select a full motion mount with my tips on buying the right one for you, because Amazon is filled with TV mounts, so many of them, all different types. As many of you know, I review TVs and lots of them, whether they're mounted on a wall or mounted on my mobile TV stand. I know my TV wall mounts, and I'm here to help you select the one wall mount that will fit your use case. To begin, you need to know the difference between the three types of TV wall mounts: the full motion wall mount, which is what we're going to talk about today, and the other two: the fixed wall mount and the tilting wall mount. Fixed wall mounts are flush against the wall, like the one that's holding my frame right there. There's no gap between the TV and the wall, or very minimal gap. It's really there for aesthetic reasons, right? So the LG OLED Gallery series or the Samsung The Frame, they're there to look good, and so you would choose a fixed mount if you want no gap between the TV and the wall. The tilting mount is up to 2 inches from the wall, so there's space for it to tilt. Now, why do you need it to tilt like this? Well, if there's glare above, tilting it slightly downward will eliminate some of that glare. And if it's above a fireplace and you want it to tilt towards your sitting area, that also helps with the viewing angles. But the last one, the full motion mount, is the most confusing one because, well, basically, if it's not a fixed mount or it's not a tilting mount, then everything else is a full motion mount. So even if a TV just does this, that's a full motion mount, right? That's not an almost motion mount, not a half motion mount. And no, I do not consider this a full motion mount. I believe to be a full motion mount, it requires motion on 5 axes. And we're going to get into that in a minute. But first, I know you have a very pressing question that I'm going to answer. Which full motion mount is holding my reference king of TVs, the Sony A95K QD-OLED that costs over $3,000? It is none other than our sponsor today, Pipishell. Hit it. If you're anything like me, we're constantly shifting our TV around to get a perfect angle. Enter today's sponsor. Pipishell offers a wide selection of TV mounts, from fixed mounts to tilt mounts to what I need, the full motion TV mount. Pipishell offers this no-fuss TV wall mount for your extra large TV. This model, the PIXF2, fits TVs from 50 inches to 90 inches with a weight-bearing capacity of 130 pounds. But beyond strength and power, what makes it so good? 5-axis fully articulating arm. Wait, 5 axes? There is 1, 2, 3, 4, and is distance 5? Yep. Once mounted, it's just under 4 inches from the wall or as far away as 29 inches from the wall. Now let's get into my tips for choosing the right full motion TV mount. Tip number 1, get a true 5-axis motion TV wall mount. None of this business. What does 5-axis mean then? Well, let's count them, beginning with 1. This is a viewing angle. That's obvious. The TV can point in different directions. 2, we know is the tilt, right? It tilts downward or slightly upward. 3 is the rotation to get the level correct. Doesn't need to rotate a lot, just enough to adjust it so that it's level. 4th is shifting the TV left or right, because let's say your studs are here, but you need your TV to be centered a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. Having that 4th axis allows you to shift that TV left or right. And 5, this is how far the TV extends forward or retracts back towards the wall. And this is the first step to deciding which TV mount to get, because you have to decide how far do you need that TV mount to extend. Some mounts can extend over 40 inches, while others maybe will extend to 20 inches. It really depends on your needs. So if you know exactly how far it needs to extend, make sure you search specifically for that extension maximum. So for example, when I got my first ever full motion, the TV mount was a Sanus, and it was $500, and man, it extended 30 inches out and all the way back to 2.5 inches. That 2.5 inches close to the wall apparently is very expensive. That's why it was $500. But additionally, it was able to hold up to 175 pounds. Clearly, I overdid it. It was for my Sony A9G. This was my first year reviewing TVs. I wanted the best. Well, I got the best, but I really didn't need a full motion TV mount that went all the way 30 inches and all the way back 2.5 inches and hold 175 pounds when my OLED wasn't more than 45 pounds. And more importantly, I never had to retract it to 2.5 inches. Most of the time, it's out here around 12 to 25 inches, right? And ultimately, I could have saved a lot of money. So if you only need the mount to go out, extend out 30 inches or so, and then when it retracts, maybe less than 4 inches, there are a lot of affordable mounts out there. So keep in mind what your needs are. The farther you have to extend the TV, let's say over 30 inches, you'll be paying a little bit more. And the closer it is to the wall as well, you also may be paying a little bit more. And more importantly, how strong does it have to be? What is the load-bearing tolerance? Normally up to 130 pounds, reasonably priced. 175 pounds, like my Sanus, yes, over $300. So definitely keep that in mind. And tip number 2, make sure your mount can handle a TV size that you will be getting in the near future. So let's say you're buying a TV mount for a 55-inch TV today, but in 3 years, you're going to upgrade to an 85-inch TV. Make sure the mount can handle up to 85 inches. The good news is most of these high-quality full-motion mounts can handle a 50-inch TV all the way up to a 90-inch TV, but make sure you choose the right mount to do so. Tip number 3, let's save you some money. You should buy your mount during Black Friday or Prime Day. This is when all the TV mount makers on Amazon are hitting their hardest discounts. So if you're buying a TV on Black Friday anyway, get your mount at the same time. No differently, if you're getting on Prime Day, get the mount at that time. So keep that in mind. And tip number 4, this is my favorite tip and one I consider a necessity, maybe because I'm a guy, but almost every instruction manual requires you to have something called a socket wrench, right? Because you're taking these long screws, 1/2 inch size more often than not, and you're drilling it or driving it into these giant studs, right? 2x4s at least. Not acceptable. I don't know how long it's gonna take. So, impact driver, my friend. Oh, this is like the best thing on earth, right? You put this in and you can drive it, split second, you're done. Now, I was using it and I realized it's kind of loud. So I upgraded to the Makita XDT19. Now the DeWalt is fine, a little loud. Right, listen to this. The Makita, not only is it quieter, more powerful, has a special wood drilling mode, and the batteries last longer. Should I be doing impact driver reviews? Tip number 5, make sure you put the brackets on the TV first before you do any measurements on your wall, putting the template up on the wall. Before you do any of that, put the brackets on the TV first. And almost every instruction, I think every mount instruction tells you to do this, but none of them tell you why. So let me tell you why. You need to do this in order to properly position the mount on the wall, right? When you have it mounted on your TV, you know where the center of that bracket is, because if this is the bracket and this is your TV, right? The bracket center is where the mount arm is. So it's easy, assuming this bracket is centered on your TV as well. Unfortunately, on my Sony A95K, that's not the case. where the VESA drill holes are, when you put the brackets on, it's not centered on the TV. It's actually several inches lower. So if this is my TV, the center of the TV is up here, and the brackets are mounted down here, which means rather than being mounted down here, it's going to be up about 4 or 5 inches. That's a problem because I have ceiling mounted speakers. So I have to very precisely make sure that I know exactly how this TV is going to mount. And the best way to do that is put the brackets first, mark the center of the TV, all right? If the center of the TV is a little bit higher than the brackets, then I need to make that same adjustment by bringing the wall mount that same number of inches lower. And since I put the brackets on first, I know how many inches of adjustment to make, and therefore I have perfect clearance with my ceiling speakers. So remember, put the brackets on first. Find the center of your TV. If the center of the TV is the same as the center of the bracket, you're good to go. If it's off either above or below, you need to make adjustments accordingly when you position the height of your wall mount. Let me know in the comments below, which one did you end up getting? The fixed, the tilt, or the 5-axis full motion? And as a bonus question, did you end up using the socket wrench or an impact driver? Until next time, stop the FOMO.